Blessed day, soul family. Welcome back. It's Resolution Thursday. Resolution Thursday, you know what we're talking about today. We're looking at the pain of conflict and how we are to get out of our continued cycles of conflict. So, let's see, we're going to look at deployment, the draft, and English as opportunity. So let's get into it. Firstly, we're going to go through the calendar exercise, our daily Tai Chi movement. Interesting movement here. Yesterday, I showed or maybe it was Monday or Tuesday, I showed the infinity drill. And the infinity drill is a hip movement, waist movement, and an opening of the tissues for the hip girdles. And then what we did was with this video, we're combining that with wave hands in the clouds. So you could classify this as a Tai Chi walking drill if you were to continue to go through the movements. So here now, just focusing on the lower body. When we omit the hands, then we have just the legs, and that allows the mind to focus more on the lower body. So when the feet come together, you can't do the infinity drill, but we can definitely play around with the hips. The idea is playing around with the hips, turning around here and feeling the softness, the openness, and the essentially the intelligence and the confidence and the proficiency of the qua. That's what we're really trying to build so that we can sink the weight, bend the knees, and have adequate mobility to move through any, to respond to anything in a Mabu stance. And you can see here, I'm just going through the walking motion of it. And then here's the infinity drill. Shifting, twist, shifting, twist, shifting, twist, shifting, twist. Infinity drills, aka the figure eight. And yesterday, I talked about the figure eight and how that's associated with the Yin Yang Tai Chi book and practice. So the infinity drill, just to say it real quickly, is, as you just saw, displayed in that movement. The infinity drill, the figure eight, shows, gives, provides the opportunity for exchange of movement. I described it as a left-right weight balancing movement as well, to harmonize sense and feeling in those legs. So that's the infinity drill, and that's the wave hands in the clouds movement. Um, and I wanted to, so we'll move on from that. Now we'll go to, unfortunately, we have to talk about conflict. Today on Resolution Thursday, we are meditating on any conflict that's in our lives, any conflict that we might not be looking at, any conflict that we may not be wanting to look at, any conflict that's directly pulling our attention, external conflict, conflict in the world, as we are going into a maybe a high aggression, um, some tense moments here with the war coming on. So. As someone who, in my case, as someone who hasn't had to see war, I understand the necessity to preserve civility. So it's just with sadness that we have to look at the human species continuing to perpetuate violence and war on the planet. For me, I feel called because I'm 44 years old. I haven't had to serve. I haven't been drafted. And yet, we have men and women who will have to go on and they'll have to fight for the free world, fight for our freedoms, fight for our um, what have you. So, how can we preserve civility? What is it that we can do? Let's just say, like, we're meditating and we're trying to think, I want to do something where I'm contributing to the peace on the planet. I want to dedicate my life to just peace and only doing peace. And anything that may be escalatory or violent in some way, I don't want to put any attention to it. What if you use that as your benchmark for the choices that you make in your life? Do a full conflict audit, if you will, to see if you're contributing to peace or violence on the planet. And this helps to give a good idea as to how we think about relationship. Remember, we've been slowly teasing out the idea of Qigong and relationship. There's a lot of people that are being deployed out to the out to the Middle East, and I really don't have no relationship to them, but I have a relationship to this constant, well, this generational event where America needs to have some sort of hands in conflict. And so, more contemplation, we understand that English has propagated and essentially, um, could I say, well, it's been spread across the world. Many major countries are using the English language. Is that good? Is that bad? Is colonialism good? Is colonialism bad? You know? Uh, Hindsight's 2020. But so if we think about my teacher talks about, imagine you don't speak the same language and you come confronted in a dark alley, kind of a bad example, but let's just say a trail or in the street with someone that you don't know and you can't speak to, or it's dark, it's dusk, and you can't speak with them, you can't communicate them, they don't speak the same language as you. They might look intimidating, they might look a little rough. How do you know how do you know if your life is at risk? So Dr. Yang says, in ancient times, people so maybe animalistic or so primitive would have to kill each other because there couldn't be any communication. Without communication, no resolution, right? No communication, no diplomacy, no de-escalation, no peace, right? What do we have when we see that we have the English language spread out throughout the world? And does it present a possible um, chance for opportunity for communication, for diplomacy? And even more so, if we continue to go deeper, what if we use the language as a language for peace? How could we investigate and learn about the English language so as to speak and use the language in a way that's more diplomatic, in a way that's more facilitating of peace, in a way that more produces resolution. How can we look at the language in a yin and yang way to see where it needs critique and where it needs improvement, and then where, it has that opportunity that it's spread far around the world. And what if people who spoke the English language were invested and motivated to live, speak, and act peacefully in this world? More importantly, most importantly, use the English language to propagate peace. What then there might be a possibility in terms of balancing the conflict in the large world. So that's my question for today, and that's my meditation moving forward. And that's also the reason why I do the work that I do, and I do these videos and the courses that I do as well, and the short books. So let me know what you think. Until next time, may your chi flow smoothly, and remember to embrace the woo. I'll be back tomorrow. I've skipped the last 2 Fridays because I've been ill, but I will be back tomorrow with a Friday installment. Take care. Have a good one.